going on, y'all? Five Sports Style back at it with another video, talking some NBA, talking season previews with the Chicago Bulls. Now, if you guys are new to my channel and haven't followed me before, I'm a big Bulls fan. I'm from Chicago, and so this channel, I tend to talk a lot of Chicago sports. So if you guys are a Bulls fan, please make sure to follow this channel, as I will be doing a lot of big topics and a lot of updates on the Bulls. And I'm starting with the season preview now. It's going to be a quick season preview because, let's be honest, I didn't really want to do this because the Bulls are awful this year. They are quite atrocious, if you will. And it's really not going to be a fun team to watch this year. And the only reason I'm doing this is, of course, because we got to cover this team through the good and the bad. I've been through a lot of bad with the Bulls, have been through some good, but like I said, this is pretty much hitting rock bottom with this rebuilding process that the Bulls are in right now. But with that being said, wanted to just give you guys my quick thoughts on this team before the season starts and what I expect from this team. And so let me start with saying I don't expect much. Okay, I really don't. This team is not going anywhere. We all know that. Vegas has the over-under on their win total at about 21. Okay, they're competing with the Atlanta Hawks for the worst record in the NBA. Seemingly every player on their team is somehow banged up and hurt, it feels like. And so really with this team, like I said, what I'm looking for in terms of this season is just, of course, development from the young guys. I don't want wins. I really don't. Please, Bulls, don't win any games this year because I want that lottery pick, even though Adam Silver screwed us over by changing the system. But actually, I don't think that's getting impacted until the year after. So this current lottery system will stay for this next season. So Bulls, tank, please. I don't want wins. I want development from these guys. Now, of course, nobody roots for their team to lose, so you guys don't take me for my word by saying I want this team to be awful if the only other alternative was they could win and I would still want them to be awful. No, that's not true. But let's be honest here. Even if they were to somehow miraculously, and I would bet a large sum of money that this would never happen, if they made the playoffs, what would they even do in the playoffs, right? Really? So I'd rather tank and get a high lottery pick like a Michael Porter Jr. or Marvin Bagley or whoever is the top guy coming out this year. I haven't done my prospects yet, but we'll get to that around draft time where we're not even close to that. But with that being said, let's talk about this team. Let's talk about, first of all, the starting lineup, okay? We're probably going to start Jerian Grant. Now, Chris Dunn was projected to be the starter, right? But I believe he got nicked up in preseason. So Jerian Grant's going to start. Zach LaVine is, of course, going to be the starter when he's healthy, but clearly he's still recovering from that ACL injury. I believe last time I checked, he was able to be cleared for contact, but he still needs to practice, and I believe his return is projected to be somewhere in December, so we won't be seeing Zach LaVine until then. Justin Holiday is the projected starting shooting guard, and I like Justin Holiday. We had him on the Bulls a couple years ago before we traded him away. Or I think we let him go or traded him away. I think we traded him away to the Knicks. Or did we get him in the Knicks? I can't remember, folks. But with that being said, Justin Holiday is a nice piece. He was on the team, like I said, a few seasons ago, and I think he's versatile. He's still relatively young, and I think he is able to, I think he's going to be able to develop into a solid role player, okay? And because of the extended usage and the minutes he's going to get, obviously he's going to be able to put up a lot of good numbers, but overall, down the line, whenever this team does get good, I think he can be a solid role player for this team, potentially even maybe a fringe, I'm not going to say like a star in any sense, but absolutely going to be able to take advantage of the opportunities to become a good starter. So I like Justin Holiday, okay? Surprisingly, I do. Small forward, probably going to start Paul Zipser. He was a small forward last year, a lot of the times, even in the playoffs. And Zipser, with him, showed some great development last year. He was a second-round pick. So from a second-round pick, usually these guys don't even make the roster. So for Zipser to start over Denzel Valentine, who was a lottery pick, I believe, is actually huge. So Denzel Valentine was a lottery pick or a first-round pick. Again, I'm having trouble remembering with this team because, honestly, it's just something with this team this year where they're just god awful. But with that being said, power forward Nikola Mirotic, they paid Nico. Okay, now the second year is a team option and they can't trade him, so he's going to be on this roster because they can't trade him for the first year. That is part of his trade clause in his deal. And Nico is probably going to be one of the highest scorers on this team. I can't wait for those pump fakes this year, honestly, folks. I expected a lot from Nico, but I don't have any expectations from him this year because I feel like he's had ample amount of opportunity and he's never been able to do much with it. He was touted as one of the best European players coming out, and that never materialized. He's just an player. He's whatever. But he will be starting, I believe. I do like Bobby Portis more. I wish Bobby Portis was starting. I think he has a higher ceiling, a higher potential. But I think Nico's going to start. And then, of course, you have Robin Lopez. I don't even know why he's on this roster. Just trade him to some team that needs a good veteran center, because Robin Lopez is actually a very, very solid center who does his job. He's able to get you a double-double every night, 10 and 10 with a block here and there. I don't know what he's doing on this roster. I'd rather give these minutes to Cristiano Felicio. So I don't know, but like I said, maybe you do need some veteran presence on a young team. Maybe you can't have all young guys, okay? So then, again, off the bench, so when Zach LaVine comes back, Justin Holiday will go to the bench, and then when Jerry Grant will go to the bench when Chris Dunn is back. So you have those two guys, and then, of course, you have the rookie Lauri Markkanen. I am expecting big things out of him. I am excited to see. I believe he is what the prototypical big man in the NBA is today, a stretch 4-5 that is able to, of course, stretch the floor, but also defend. He can score in multiple ways. I like that. So I'm expecting big things out of him. Do I expect him to win Rookie of the Year? No. But like I said, I expect him to have a big role on this roster, and hopefully he develops into one of our quality pieces, because we passed up on Dennis Smith Jr., folks. And if Dennis Smith Jr. turns out to be the star that I think he is, then Lauri Markkanen, the Bulls will forever regret this pick. But that is the case with John Paxson and Gar Forman, it feels like. But with that being said, so Lauri Markkanen, I am expecting big things out of him. I mentioned Cristiano Felicio and Bobby Portis. Rest of the guys on this roster really not too impactful. But with that being said, I expect the Bulls to be one of the worst teams in the NBA, right there with the Hawks. I think they're probably the worst team in the NBA. They could probably finish with the worst record. But like I said, that's all expected. As long as I want 2 or 3 things this year, okay? This is what I want. I want Zach LaVine fully healthy, and when he's fully healthy, I want him to turn into a star. He was turning around into that corner of becoming a star before that ACL injury, so I'd love to see that happen, because I believe he's up for a contract extension this year. If Zach LaVine does not play well, then it's going to put the Bulls in a really tough spot to whether or not they are going to want to extend him or not, and give him that max contract, which it's going to be a big commitment. So I want Zach LaVine to turn into an all-star. I want development from Lauri Markkanen and Bobby Portis and Denzel Valentine. Denzel Valentine, I forgot to mention him. He's been a big disappointment as well. I want development from all those young guys. Cristiano Felicio did show me something last year, so I am a bit happy with his development. But the rest of these guys, I want to see more. I really do. And the third and lastly, I want to be able to see the change in tempo and pace of this team. Fred Hoiberg, I want him to run that space and pace offense that he ran at Iowa State, and I want the Bulls to be able to adapt to the new NBA. You know, last year they were an old, slow defensive team. That's not the NBA anymore, folks. You got to be able to space the floor. You got to be able to push the ball, and I want the Bulls, even though the roster is awful, at least you can mold these guys into what you want and what you expect. So I want the Bulls, and especially Fred Hoiberg and this coaching staff, to be able to do that. And like I said, wins don't matter, so you can give all these guys all the minutes. You can tinker, you can experiment, you can do whatever. Fred Hoiberg, go crazy, but make sure you find a way to get an offense going and have some semblance of a modern-day NBA offense. So there you have it, folks. Those are my thoughts on the Bulls and their season preview. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please make sure to follow me on social media down below, and make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.